Starts.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. So, first of all, welcome to this semester. So, now you are in the final year of your undergraduate program. It's very important for your career building. So, uh, it's a very important year for your life. You must be aware of the fact that this year the university has prescribed a wonderful textbook for your detailed study, and the title of the textbook is English and Soft Skills. Now, all of us know that there are two types of skills. One is hard skills and another is soft skills. So you might wonder as to what is the difference between hard skills and soft skills. Let me give you an example. In computer, we have something called hardware. Now, what is hardware? Hardware means components. For example, the CPU and the screen, mouse, and the internal components like hard disk or kind of the these days we have SSD. So these components are called hardware. So there are experts of hardware. So if your computer has any hardware related issue, then you will take your computer system to that hardware expert, and the hardware expert will make use of different tools um, to get it repaired. So that is hardware. When we talk about software, um, for example, we make use of Windows version, um, that is software. So software is something that runs the computer. Without software, hardware is of no use, because if your computer doesn't have an operating system, then it's of no use having a computer system. Similarly, there are two types of skills. One, hard skills, and another is soft skills. Now, what do we mean by hard skills? For example, if you have a carpenter, if you have a plumber, if you have a blacksmith, then the kind of skills that they have is known as hard skills, because those skills you can easily kind of demonstrate, and you can see that these skills are kind of hard skills. Then there are kind of soft skills. Now, when we talk about soft skills, we are talking about skills like negotiation skill, people skill, interpersonal skill, and apart from all these, we also have something like emotional intelligence, something like learning skill, listening skill. So these are some of the skills that we talk about in the 21st century. So keeping pace with the time, uh, Saurashtra University has prescribed a textbook which focuses on development of soft skills, because nowadays uh, if you look at the um, multinational companies like Google, Microsoft, uh, Amazon, they do not give much importance to the formal qualification, but they give lot of importance or weightage to uh, skills that the candidate has. And when we talk about the skills, soft skills are very very important. So when you will go in for job search, soft skills will come handy. So it is very very important for all of you to develop soft skills. So let me tell you that which are the components of the um, semester 5 syllabus of your English paper. So first one is, as I said, listening skills. Uh, most of us think that it's kind of very natural for us to have this skill, but it's very important that we understand the difference between listening and hearing. See, hearing is on the physiological level, on the level of kind of physical aspect. But when we talk about listening, it's physiological as well as psychological process. So listening is kind of superior to hearing, and then we also need to look at different types of listening. For example, we have something called active listening. So when we talk about active listening, it's kind of the active involvement of the listener in the whole process. So there is an entire chapter dedicated to listening skill. Next is another important skill, that is teamwork skills. As all of us know, in today's world, we have to work in teams, especially if you are working in the corporate field. If you are working in multinational companies, then you are working in teams. So it's very important that you are not only good at individual performance, but you should also be a good team member. So a team which has good dynamics will be able to achieve the goals. So teamwork skills is another important aspect of your soft skill. Third one is known as emotional intelligence skills. Now what do we mean by emotional intelligence?
Sir, unmute karo sir.
I would like to tell you that the component of emotional intelligence requires the person to keep his or her
Hello sir, आवाज આવતો નથી
emotions
તમારો.
in check. That means you learn how to manage your emotional reactions. So a person who is good at emotional intelligence, or the person having good emotional intelligence skill, will be able to manage his or her emotions in a better way. In the past, we used to say that a person having a very good IQ was considered as a very good person. But in today's world, just intelligence is not enough. IQ means intelligence quotient. In today's world, apart from IQ, you need to have good intelligence, that's fine. But apart from that, if you don't know how to manage your emotions, if you don't have the strategies to keep your emotions in check,
સર
then
તમારું માઇક ચાલુ કરો
you
સર.
might be a loser. There are many examples of people who have lost their positions because of failure to manage their emotions. Because if they kind of overreact to some situations, then they would get into trouble. So emotional intelligence is a very important aspect of soft skill, and it is also known as EQ, that is emotional quotient. So a person having high EQ is capable of managing his emotions, managing his emotional response. That person is not easily, the person will not get easily disturbed in terms of emotions. Why? Because the person knows how to manage his or her emotions. So emotional intelligence, EQ, is the next step in the soft skills. Then you have something called assertive
અરે ભાઈ
skills.
સમજવા જોઈને આમાં એમ નમ ચાલુ કરી
It's
દીધું હોય
something
ને હવે
like
આપણે હવે
persuasive skill, something
ફોન
like
નંબર હોય તો એકાદા ફોન કરો સાહેબ ને
ability
બીજું હું
to
આપણે
put
કાલે
forth
આવું
your
થયું હતું
views.
એકવાર ને પાછું આજ બીજી વાર
તમારી
થયું.
પાસે જે કંઈ પણ તમારું એક કન્વિક્શન છે, તમારી
ચાલુ
જે
જ રાખે ને
વિચારધારા
કે
છે,
સ્ટોપ તો કરો
એ
ને કાંઈ.
વિચારધારાને એક પ્રબળ રીતે, એક કન્વિન્સિંગ વેમાં લોકો
લેક્ચર
સમક્ષ
નથી આવતા
મૂકવું,
પાછા વિડીયો
એ પણ એક બહુ
ઈ
જબરદસ્ત
જ ને
સ્કિલ
ઈ જ
છે.
વાંધો હોય.
આજે
અને એમને
ઘણા
માં
બધા
તો
લોકો
એમનેમાં ઈ તો હલાવ્યા રાખે
ને
આગળ
જ્યારે
ને ઊભું તો
સાંભળીએ
રાખો
છીએ,
ને
જ્યારે
હમણાં નથી
સંપર્કમાં
અવાજ
આવીએ છીએ,
અમારો.
ત્યારે આપણને ખ્યાલ આવે છે કે
ઉભા રહ્યો હતા ચાલુ નથી
ટ્રીમેન્ડસ એસર્ટિવ
હમણાં ફોન
સ્કિલ
મળે
છે.
છે
તો
હા ત્યાં એવું
એ
હોય તો
એક
ત્યાં
સોફ્ટ સ્કિલનો
પીડીએમ
એક
એકાદા
પ્રકાર
ફોન
છે.
કરીને પૂછજો હોય ને કે આવું કેમ થાય છે ને કઈ.
આજે
કર્યો
દાદા
કર્યો ફોન.
ઘણા બધા લોકો એવા છે કે જે લોકો એ
હા ભલે
પોતાનું
હાલો.
એક જીવન નિર્વાહ એ સોફ્ટ સ્કિલ્સમાંથી મેળવી શકે છે. ઇફ યુ આર a very good speaker, then there are chances that you might earn very good money from that skill. તો ખાસ કરીને એવા ઘણા બધા ફિલ્ડ્સ છે કે જેમાં સોફ્ટ સ્કિલ્સ એ બહુ જ
સમજાવજો
ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ
એને કે
રોલ પ્લે
પાછું
કરે
આટલું
છે.
સમજાયું એટલું
જો
બીજી
એ
વાર આને કે
ક્ષેત્રમાં તમારે સફળ થવું હોય તો સોફ્ટ સ્કિલ્સ એ
દિવ્યેશ ભાઈ
જેટલી
ફોન
તમારી
કરો તો
સારી,
હતા
એટલી તમારી એ ફિલ્ડમાં
મારી પાસે ક્યાં
સક્સેસફુલ
કઈ ના ફોન
થવાની
નંબર હે.
ઓલા
સંભાવના
કે
વધી
કર્યો
જાય
તો
છે. સો
કરી દીધો ને કર્યો ડબલામાં
when we
કર્યો
talk about soft skills, we always
પીડીએમ
talk
માં
about
જઈશે ફોન વાળું.
ઉભા રહ્યો તો
listening
દિવ્યેશ
skill, we always talk
હા
about
ફોન કરો ફોન કરો.
teamwork skills, emotional intelligence skills, assertive skills, and fifth one is
અરે
learning
ભાઈ કોઈ પ્લીઝ
skills.
અનમ્યુટ ના કરતા હો ભાઈ કોઈ
Because
અનમ્યુટ ના કરતા કે ના બરોબર વયા જાય.
we believe that all of us
ખોટા
learn
મ્યુટ ના કરે કોઈને.
naturally,
હા
but
સાચી
it's
વાત
not like
હમણાં ઈ
that.
થાતું હતું ક્યારું.
We need to have strategies to learn from different sources, and especially um, during this pandemic time, uh, people
ફોન ઉપાડ્યો.
did not have access, especially you
હા
as
તો એમને હલાવ્યા
students
જ રાખે સાહેબ.
did not have access to um,
ફોન કરી જવો
physical
એકાદા.
classroom. That means you were not able to attend uh, classrooms in college. You did not get an opportunity to attend lectures, but still um, you um acquired knowledge. You learned a lot through online platforms. For example, I'm just giving you an example. Some of you had enrolled for that finishing school project being offered by Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat. Now, in that finishing school project, the main thrust area was that of development of soft skills, and as a part of it, many of you kind of could experience the change that would come about if you kind of get into that process,
ફોન
because
ઉપાડ્યો
uh, developing soft skill
હલો
is more of experiential learning. That means you kind of learn from the experiences. So it's very important that um, you
હલો
engage yourself
હા
in
ઉપાડો
the
અત્યારે
process.
કર્યો
So
કીધું
first you
હરિયાણી
have
સાહેબ
the
ને
concrete
કીધું હવે કરે
experience.
છે વાય ઉપર
After
ઠીક
having concrete experience,
ઠીક
you
ઠીક વાંધો
go
નહીં
in
ભલે હાલો
for reflective
ફોન ચાલુ છે કે ને
observation.
પાંચમા સેમના
After having reflective
ના
observation,
ના
you
હજી
go in
ત્યાં
for
નથી ચાલુ
abstract conceptualization. And after having abstract conceptualization, you go in for
ઓકે તમને મ્યુટ કરી
okay.
આપણો મીડિયા લેક્ચરમાં છે અવાજ ડોન્ટ વરી.
Okay. So after abstract
આજો હવે અવાજ આવ્યો
conceptualization,
સાહેબ
you go in for active experimentation. That means the hands-on experience. So if you look at this, these four stages, then concrete experience is something like feeling stage. You actually have the feeling of an experience. Then you go in for reflective observation. That means what you do is you kind of observe, you reflect, and then comes a stage of reading. You read books, you read journals, you read articles, and you try to find kind of some sort of similarity in the journal, in the article, in the book with the real life experience. And then finally comes the stage of active experimentation. That means you would like to put your learning into practice. Each one of us has a specific learning style. You would be surprised to know that if we go in for some sort of evaluation of a person's learning style, then we come out with basically four types of learners. First means the learners who are kind of interested in hands-on experience. They are not much interested in the kind of theory, but they are very much interested in the practical aspect, the experimentation aspect of the learning. So they are kind of known as dynamic learners. Then there is category of imaginative learners. Now these learners, they learn best through visualization. They imagine things. So imaginative learners are very good at imagination, and they kind of try to visualize things. So they are known as imaginative learners. Then the next category is that of the learners who learn through reading, and they kind of like to read theories. So they are the learners who rely a lot on the theoretical aspect of learning. And then the fourth variety is that of the learners who combine this kind of abstract conceptualization and active experimentation. So they also read, but at the same time they wish to kind of go in for some sort of active experimentation. So they are known as common sense learners. So in the nutshell, we can say that there are different learning styles. Now, if you know your learning style, then you can learn better. Some people learn from teachers, some people learn from kind of books. So different people have different sources of learning. Similarly, when it comes to learning, uh, different people have different choices in terms of places where they learn the most. For example, some people learn the most when they are in their own room. Some people learn the most if they are sitting in a garden on a bench and if they are reading something. Some people learn the most if they are reading a book in a library. Some people learn the most if they are sitting in a cafeteria. So uh, people from whom you learn, place where you learn the most, and the style of learning, these are some of the important areas which influence your learning skill. So when we talk about the components of your uh, syllabus, these are 5 main areas: listening skills, teamwork skills, emotional intelligence skills, assertive skills, and finally, as I said, learning skills. So these are 5 soft skills that you will be focusing on in your 5th semester. To continue, in your 6th semester, you will have topics like problem solving skills. Many people think that it's kind of very natural that some people can find solutions of different problems, but then it is also possible that you learn to solve problems that come your way in your own field. So that is your problem solving skill. Next is interview skills. Interview is a very important part of your career building, because without facing an interview, you cannot expect to get a good job, because interview is a kind of an opportunity for the interviewer to evaluate the capability of the candidate. So interview, how to face an interview. There are different aspects like verbal, non-verbal, body language, how to sit, how to maintain correct posture during an interview. That is also an important part of interview skill. So interview skill is a very, very important soft skill. Next is adaptability skills. Now, what do we mean by adaptability? Adaptability means flexibility. In this world, if you want to survive, if you want to kind of make some progress in your field, then you need to have flexibility. Flexibility in terms of accepting others' views, flexibility in terms of work hours. So flexibility is kind of an attitude. If a person is flexible, then the person will kind of agree to kind of to negotiate his or her position. So adaptability skill is a very important skill. Next is non-verbal communication skills. You should remember your business communication paper of SEM 3 and SEM 4, and in that paper you had non-verbal communication skill. When we talk about non-verbal communication skill, we are talking about aspects like gesture, posture, body language, tone of speaking, space, color, time. So these are some of the components of non-verbal communication. So apart from the words that you use, non-verbal communication is a very important part of soft skill. People who are good at soft skill, they know how to kind of make use of different tonal variety, how to make use of correct posture while sitting, while kind of standing. That is also part of non-verbal communication skill. So you need to understand that different cultures have different signs and symbols. So as a businessman, you should be very much aware of different aspects of non-verbal communication. There are some signs and symbols which are not accepted in cultures. There are some signs and symbols which could hurt the sentiments of people of that particular culture. So whenever you go to another culture, whenever you are interacting with a person from another culture, it's very important that you have some understanding about the non-verbal aspect of communication in that culture. So that is non-verbal communication. And the final component is that of written communication skills. So I think this is a very well designed kind of syllabus, because these are the skills that you require the most in your career. If you have teamwork skill, if you have listening skill, if you have adaptability skill, if you know how to communicate well, verbally and non-verbally, if you have kind of good emotional intelligence, then I think these things will go a long way in kind of in shaping your career. A person who wishes to start his or her business, or a person who wishes to get employment in a big company should always strive to develop soft skills. Many of you who attended this finishing school must have experienced that in the beginning you have a lot of kind of inhibitions as to how to speak in public, but I definitely saw the remarkable change, remarkable transformation in the students who participated in that finishing school project, because they were able to kind of speak in front of teachers. They were able to speak in front of their peers, other participants, and especially they were able to speak in English. So that kind of confidence is very important in life. And if you want to have this kind of an experience, this kind of confidence, then you will have to participate in such projects. Um, it was kind of not a very welcome thing that um, we offered this project to students of third year, but then they could not take the maximum advantage of this project. Only few students enrolled for this project, in spite of the fact that it was offered free of charge. But I would like to tell you that if you get an opportunity this year, then you should definitely go for such a project, finishing school project. This project is a kind of very practical approach to the skills that you require the most in your career building, and it takes care of non-verbal communication skill. It takes care of teamwork skill, because you are divided into small groups and you have to kind of work on different tasks assigned to your group, and that will help you understand the group dynamics, because different people have different ideas. So you know how to brainstorm, how to kind of go in for generation of ideas, how to go about doing sort of selection of the options, because you have multiple options, but you cannot um, select and implement all the options. So you will have to kind of select a few options which are very important, and you have to omit other options which are not so important. But then you need to know which are the different ways in which you can kind of do that nominal group technique and brainstorming. These are some of the techniques that we'll talk about in next lectures. But my understanding of this syllabus is that of focusing on the practical aspect, because unless and until you participate in the process, you will not be able to get the benefit. These topics are not just meant for writing answers in your university exam, but these topics are going to help you in your life, in your day-to-day life, in your professional life. So in your personal life also it will help, and definitely it will help in your professional life. So it's very important that you kind of follow the topics. The textbook that has been prescribed is having the title English and Soft Skills. The publisher of the textbook is Orient Black Swan, and the editor of this book is S.P. Dhanavel, and the book should be easily available in the market. So if you want to get the best out of this paper, then you should purchase this textbook from the market. And in the next lecture we will discuss about various aspects of soft skills, and specifically the aspect that has been assigned to me. So I'll be taking up lesson number 5 from the textbook, and the title of the lesson is learning skills. So we'll talk more about different learning styles, how best you can learn. So all these things are very important. So next time when we meet, I think all of you will come prepared with the copy of textbook. If it is available in the market, you should get a copy of it. If it's not available, then we'll try to have some sort of soft copy made available, so that we can read from the text during the online lecture, online class. So I think I have given you an outline of the paper that you are going to study in your semester. It's very interesting, because in the past we used to have a novel, a drama, collection of short stories. They are important, but then if you think of the skills that we need to develop, then this kind of textbook will help you a lot. So thank you all, and look forward to having more fruitful interactions in the next session. Thank you.